What's up, guys? It's your boy Spider back for another JJKPhantomparade video. So today we're gonna be going over AnniSukuna. He's coming out later tonight, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like later tonight. Before we get started though, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could drop me a like, comment, subscribe. Would really help me out, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But that being said, let's get right into this. So yeah, you know, we got a brand new Sukuna with a brand new recollection, but let's get right into it. Before we do get started though, you know, continue any further, also real quick, you know, we're getting 2 free multis, which is really cool. We're gonna be getting some limited time missions, kind of like how Todo was. Maybe they'll be the same thing, who knows, because Todo's was literally just like spend a shit ton of stamina, you get the tickets, pretty cool. And then also for Sukuna, he's also having a serial code, which is gonna give you another 10. Now for Itadori, I'll probably post it in this video as well. His code, if you guys still don't know what it is, because I know, my bad, I haven't uploaded a video. Still working on the summon video, kind of mixed on how the summons went. But his code, his hero code, is basically his name. So if you go to Sukuna's here, you know how it's like says fire power battle Sukuna, right? For Yuji's it was like full power Yuji, and then that was the code, you know, like, so I'll put in the comments down below so you guys get that free 10 multi for Yuji. But for Sukuna, since he's gonna have a serial code also, it's probably gonna be the same thing. So for his, it's probably gonna be fire power battle Sukuna, and that's probably going to be his code when he comes out, so you can get immediately a 10 free ticket multi from that. And then, you know, you do the missions to get the other one. Anyways, let's go over what this guy does. Now, people have been saying he's probably the second least desirable character. So it goes like, you know, Maito, which we're going to be getting next week. And then it's going to be Todo. Then it's going to be between Yuji and Sukuna. I think Sukuna is the least... Actually, he's either the second or the most least valuable from this overall, like the amount of characters that we got for this anniversary. I don't know which one's considered worse, quote unquote, because Yuji's like a really good yellow DPS. That's why people are saying that you don't really need the Sukuna. And then for red team, people are saying you can just use like Toji or whatever. So that's kind of why they weren't really like saying that, oh, red Yuji's that good. But I feel like Yuji's probably a little better than Toji. Anyways, let's see exactly what the Sukuna does, and then we'll figure it out for ourselves, or at least I'll give my opinion on it, see how what I think. Alrighty, so of course we know his yellow DPS characteristic cannot be assigned with Yuji Itadori on the same team, which makes sense. He doesn't have any Black Flash. Skill 1 here, playing around. At level 1, you deal 265 melee physical damage to one enemy for 3 hits. You have a high chance to crit though, so that's pretty cool. So you have a 30% chance on the first and second hit, and then 100% on the third hit. So that's pretty cool. That's actually very nice. And then 50% on the first and second hit for crit damage, and then 150% crit damage for the last hit. And then at level 10, it's just 450. It now goes up to 450% melee damage. Level 9, it's going to be 429, which is still pretty good. So basically, you're only really getting more melee damage out of this, which is still pretty significant multiplier. Like 400 is still quite huge for just like skill 1, so that's pretty cool, right? Skill 2 here, dismantle. Level 1, it costs 15 cursed energy. You're dealing 301 range Jujutsu damage to all enemies for 2 hits, so AoE. You're also inflicting 2 stacks of continuous Jujutsu damage, laceration for 4 turns, which, you know, Sukuna has this whole laceration debuff for DOT, which is pretty cool. And then each stack increases additional damage by 20%. And you also increase all enemies damage received by 11.1% for 3 turns. So that's kind of cool. At level 10, it's going to now be 450. So the same multiplier as the skill 1. You're still inflicting the 2 stacks. And then you're now also inflicting 50% increase as all enemies damage received instead of 11. And then at level 9, it's going to be 14.6 increased damage. Increase all enemies damage received. And then you're going to be dealing 433 range Jutsu AoE damage to all enemies, so that's pretty interesting. It does have a second variation here though, which is, you know, all these characters kind of have this so far, where they have like a second variation to their skills. So it's change skill 2 here. It's now called, let's see, so I actually don't know if they have the name here or not. It still costs the same amount of curse energy. So if there's one enemy in the wave, change the skill effect. So I guess this is now gonna, so I guess the regular version is like if you're fighting like AoE, like there's a bunch of mobs, right? Like there's multiple. And then I'm guessing based off immediately off of skill 2, so since it says one enemy, this is gonna probably be more catered towards bosses, I'm assuming. But at level 1 here, you're gonna be dealing 354 range Jutsu damage to one enemy for 4 hits. You're going to inflict 2 stacks of the laceration for 4 turns. Each stack increases damage by 20%, and then you're increasing that enemy's damage received by 11.1% for 3 turns. At level 10, it's going to be 600 range jutsu damage to one enemy for 4 hits, and then it's going to be 15% increased enemy's damage received, so that's still the same. And then at level 9, it's going to be 572, but basically you're just going to be inflicting more damage overall. But it's going to be like, so this is overall like this version, whenever there's one enemy, it's going to be dealing more damage, but that's because, you know, it's 1-on-1, right? So it's going to be dealing more damage to one enemy, but if it's AoE, it's going to be dealing a little bit less damage, but it's still but basically it's, you know, still doing the same thing. So overall, the only thing that really changes that if it's like one enemy, like a boss or whatever, you're dealing more damage to the boss with 2 additional hits. But then if it's like multiple enemies, then you're just going to be dealing your AoE damage for a bit less damage, but it's still pretty good. So that's basically how it goes, so not too bad. Skill 3, we got Cleave at level 1. It does cost 45 curse energy, so a bit hefty. You're going to be dealing 765 melee physical, 765 melee jujutsu damage to one enemy for 7 hits, so that's a lot of hits actually. And then you're going to inflict 2 stacks of 45% continuous jutsu damage laceration for 2 turns this time. And then of course that's the whole increased additional damage by 20% with each stack. Level 10, it's going to be 945 melee jutsu damage to one enemy. And then that's pretty much it. So overall, just like a ton more damage. It's like a mini ultimate, which is kind of crazy, especially with the increase of laceration DOT. This is pretty good. Granted, skill 2 and just skill 2 is going to be way better because that's going to be more lacerations that are going to like last longer. But granted, the skill 3 does do more damage, but it does last for 2 turns. But yeah, skill 2 is going to be your main way you put if you want to put multiple lacerations. That's how you're going to go about it. But skill 3 is like a little mini ultimate basically, so that's pretty cool. It is only for one enemy though, so keep that in mind. But at the same time, since it's like kind of like a mini ultimate, I think that's fair. And then at level 9, it's going to be 925, which is still pretty high, right? Then we got the ultimate here, Fuga. At level 1, you're dealing 1421 ranged jujutsu damage to one enemy with critical hit. You also inflict 198.3 continuous jutsu damage flame 2 turns, so a different DOT. And then you cannot use ultimate skill until Sukuna has used Dismantle and Cleave in battle, unable to perform a combo ultimate. So you can only do this by himself basically, which is kind of interesting. At level 10, it's going to be 2100 ranged jutsu damage to one enemy and 350 continuous jutsu damage flame DOT for 2 turns. So very, very strong. It is interesting though that basically they're saying that you have to use Fuga, you have to use Dismantle and Cleave in a battle. So that would be skill 2 and skill 3. So you basically have to do skill 2 and skill 3 after you use the ultimate. And then you can use the ultimate again, I think. And also you can't use the ultimate until you do use Dismantle and Cleave. So before you even use the ultimate, you have to use skill 2 and skill 3. And then you can use the ultimate, and then I'm assuming after that you can use it multiple times after that fact. It's just that every time before you use it for the first time at least, you will have to use skill 2 and skill 3, and then you can do the ultimate, which I mean should be pretty easy, right? You're going to be using those skills anyways. For auto skills here, we got King of Curses. So at the start of battle, you grant Poison, Darkness, Soul Stun, and Confusion immunity to self. Grant immunity to instant death caused by soul damage to self. You grant yourself 30% flame resistance to self, because you know the whole here does like flame damage, so that makes sense. Whenever you do a crit, you increase your own damage dealt by 20% for 2 turns, and you recover your own cursed energy by 15 regardless of cursed energy cap. So that's going to be really, really nice to help him basically spam skill 2, skill 3 a little bit more often, as well as basically giving yourself a guaranteed damage dealt every time you do skill 1 pretty much. So that's pretty cool. If receiving a hit of 10,000 HP damage, or starting from the 9th turn or one time during battle, you increase your own taijutsu and jutsu stat by 20%, and if a skill hit is performed multiple times, still count as one hit receive. Let's see. So I think what this is just saying is that if there's like if the enemy hits you with a attack or whatever, and then an attack does 10,000 of your HP, then you'll get this physical and jutsu stat buff by 20%. But if that hit is like multiple of those hits, then it'll still count that as like one hit for this like to proc, I guess is what I'm understanding. So if it's like if you get hit again, it'll still count it as like the one hit because you already hit the 10k HP requirement here. And I'm assuming this won't stack because it does say one time during battle, unless this is tied to the 9th turn, which because if this could stack with the multiple hits, that would be really cool. I don't know if that's how that works still, but at the very least, I'm pretty sure it's just a simple, if you get one hit of 10,000 of your HP, you know, gone, or you make it to the 9th turn, then you get physical and jutsu stat increased by 20%. I'm assuming that's how that works for the most part. Next off we have here is at the start of turn, increase own damage dealt for 1 turn based on cursed energy. So if you have 60 to 89% or 60 to 89 cursed energy, you get a 10% damage buff. If you have 90 to 119, it's a 25% damage buff. And then if you have more than 120 cursed energy, you get a 50% damage buff. So that's pretty good though, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you know, basically like 50% is going to be a bit rough to get because you need to have 120 and you're going to be kind of spamming it. But you know, maybe there'll be some stuff here that'll help Sukuna out to get more cursed energy. I mean, here he does already have something where he does recover his own cursed energy by 15 whenever he does crit. And if you do skill 1, which shouldn't use any cursed energy, right? You're getting basically a bonus, right? Bonus of whatever skill 1 is going to be giving you, plus the additional 15 recovery. So that should make it a little bit more feasible to be able to get your cursed energy back and also increase it even more here, right? Plus it does go over the cap. Yeah, it does go over the cap, so it's going to help out a lot too. So it's going to make it a lot easier to get to that 50%. Granted, it's for 1 turn, so it does kind of suck a little bit, but I think it's fair. Anyways, going on to the next stuff here, we got reverse curse technique. If HP is around 20 to 80% at the start of battle, you recover your own HP by 20%. Between a 30 to 45% chance, less HP will increase the chance. So basically, oh, okay, so I see. So basically as it says, if HP is around 20 to 80% at the start of turn, you recover your own HP by 20%. And then the lower it is, the more HP you're going to be recovering, up to a max of, I guess, 45% is what it's saying. Unless it's saying it's a chance, 20% chance to recover your own HP, but no, it says recover your own HP by 20%. The chance is 30 to 45. Okay, I see. So it's gonna be, I guess, if you have 80% HP, it's gonna be like a 30% chance to give you a 20% HP recovery, and then it's gonna cap out at 45 the lower you go. I'm assuming is my understanding here. So that's decent, you know, a little bit of recovery, so that's always good. If your HP is below 20% at the start of turn, though, you recover your own HP by 50% 1 time during battle. After the above effect has occurred, change the effect into 20% HP recovery at a 60% chance. So you'll be recovering your HP at a much higher chance, so that's really good. Plus, if you're below the 20%, you get a really fat HP recovery boost, so that's really good as well. So pretty good survival skill passive here, so I think that's really good. Not super broken, but I think it's still pretty good as, for the most part. Finally here we got Dismantle counter. So at the start of the battle, you grant yourself a counter state. So when you receive a melee attack 1 time per turn though, certain chance to deal 400% range Jujutsu damage to the countered enemy for 4 hits. You inflict 2 stacks of 30% continuous Jujutsu damage, laceration that lasts for 2 turns. And then of course will increase damage with laceration. And then increase the countered enemy's damage received by 50% for 2 turns. That's really good. And you also recover your own cursed energy by 15 regardless of cursed energy cap. That's actually quite good. So he's pretty much yeah, he's gonna have like a forever counter basically. Granted, it's only 1 time per turn, but that's still really good, right? So as long as he gets hit with a physical or like a melee attack, so it could be a jujutsu or taijutsu attack, but it has to be melee, like specifically melee. So as long as it's a melee attack, he will do the counter, apply the increased damage received to the enemy, recover his own cursed energy, and also apply the DOT. So pretty good. Not super broken, but still pretty good, I'd say, for the most part. So yeah, really good stuff here. And then also the recovering cursed energy is also quite useful. So you can technically like get a max of like 30 plus on top of if you were to do skill 1, King Man Boom, you know, a lot of good stuff there. Nothing else though. Not gonna lie, I kind of thought Sukuna would have had a revive, because I feel like a revive kind of makes sense for this guy, or something like that. or like some sort of like he can't like die kind of ability here, like what's the word, like a death immunity. I feel like either a death immunity or like an instant like one shot. Well, I mean I know it says instant death here, but like if it was like you take like 9 million damage, right, he'll be able to block it one time, or he can revive himself one time. I feel like that would have been kind of fair for Sukuna, because I feel like Sukuna's like Gojo, where like he's that powerful, where I think something like that would make sense. But maybe that'll be more for like a future version of Sukuna, right, when we get some of the other versions of him. But yeah, overall I think the Sukuna is pretty good. Definitely not as broken as like the Todo and Yuji. I feel like they offer a bit more. So personally, I would say this Sukuna is like on the very bottom of like he's still really good, don't get me wrong, but I'd say out of like all the units so far from this anniversary, I'd say he's probably at the very bottom. So I'd say the way I would go about it, because apparently, you know, Mahito's like really broken, right? So I would probably put it like Mahito, then Todo, then Yuji, and then the Sukuna at the very bottom. Granted, Gojo, the brand new Gojo we're going to be getting on JP, which Global should be getting sometime in January, most likely, I'd imagine, unless they want to delay, but I'm pretty sure we should get in January. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind if it came at the same time on Global. I think that would be kind of cool, but I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that I have a feeling that Gojo's probably going to be on par with Mahito, maybe even better than Mahito, at least for the blue element, because I feel like it's probably going to be like a cracked blue DPS. But then again, it'd be kind of weird because we just have fucking Yuta, and Yuta's a really good blue DPS, right? So it'd be kind of weird to get like another broken blue DPS character. But like, then again, Yuji was a red DPS character. Mahito is also a red character, which I'm assuming is also DPS because everybody's been hyping him up, and I'm assuming he's a DPS character. Like I said, I'll have to take a look at that to confirm that, but you know, you never know, they might do something like that. Anyways, yeah. In terms of like a quick shitty summon though, like anything past that, I'd say honestly, wait. The Sukuna is definitely not that crazy. He's good, but I wouldn't say he's like really cracked or broken from looking at his kit here. I did hear the recollection mate is good, so we'll take a look at that in a second. But I say on the tier list, I'd say he's probably on par with Yuji. I feel like because he does do a lot of good stuff, so I feel like he's probably maybe not like I think that's fair to say. I think it's fair to say the Sukuna is probably on par, or at least very close to the yellow Itadori here. But I'd say he's also kind of like, his kit isn't too crazy to where it's like it makes him automatically go to triple S tier. I feel like he's also like still kind of like double S tier, low key. But I think it's fair to say that he's triple S tier, just because like he does do a lot of cool stuff. So I'd say overall the Sukuna is pretty good for the most part. Definitely not like a must summon, like you need to pull him right now. I'd say hold off a little bit, especially to see what that brand new Gojo does, and also for Mahito because he's going to be coming out next week. And he's a more broken character, but I don't also blame you guys for something for Sukuna because he's so fucking cool, right? I'm gonna be doing pulls for him myself, and hopefully I get lucky because I like to have him because he's pretty cool. But yeah, I'd probably put him. I'd say triple S tier is probably fine, but I look-y feel like he's maybe more like high end of double S tier. That's just what I kind of think. But I mean, I guess he does do a bit more than like Team Gojo, right? But I feel like he's kind of close to like not doing enough. But like, you know, I don't know. I think he's good, but like, he doesn't do like a lot of crazy stuff, but I think he's still pretty good. So I think it's fair enough to say he's a triple S tier for DPS. And then that's pretty much it because, you know, he's not really a support character. Anyways, let's go into the recollection mate here. So the brand new summonable recollection mate on Sukuna's banner. I have heard this one actually is quite good. So when you perform an ultimate skill, you increase your own Jujutsu stat by 80% for one turn one time, so that's really good. It doesn't really matter that's for one turn one time because it's, you know, using an ultimate here. If a yellow character is holding on to this though, then you're increasing your own critical damage by 25% for one turn one time. That's pretty good. Also, it is only Jujutsu focused, so no physical here. With one dupe, if your own cursed energy is 60 or more at the start of turn, you increase your own critical hit rate and ultimate skill gauge charge rate by 20% for one turn. That's okay. Nothing too crazy there. Getting extra crit rate is fine. Ultimate skill gauge is always good, but like not super crazy. But like, I mean, that's still pretty good, right? For the most part. I'm not saying that's bad. And then if you have 3 dupes, you're now going to be increasing your own Jujutsu stat by 85%, and then your crit damage is now going to be, or crit damage is now going to be 30%. So. And it's going to be on a 7-turn cooldown. Honestly, this is good, like, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like there's some other other recollections that are a bit better, but this is still like a really strong one. I think the reason why I'm not getting super blown away about this one is because the one on Yuji and Todo's banner is like crazier because it's like 100%, right? But this is still, don't get me wrong, this is still a really good recollection. Like this is like within the line of like really strong recollection to where you would still want to have this, because this is still really strong. This is still a really good recollection to have for sure, no doubt about it. But not as blown away because of the Yuji Todo one's like a bit more crazier, but this is still a really good one, especially for any other yellow Jutsu DPS characters. But then again, the only really good yellow DPS character at the moment is Yuji, so that doesn't really work for him. And then the only other good yellow DPS is Gojo, but he's mixed, so you wouldn't really want to use this one on him. And then we go down to like Toji, he's physical. Nanami is also kind of mixed, so you know there's not really that many other options at the moment who you could give this to other than Sukuna, so a bit of a downside for that. But hey, for future characters, would probably be pretty good, right? And lastly here we got this other recollection bit from I think it's supposed to be from the event. I need to double check, but I think this is from the event. Let's see. Yeah, it should be from part 2 of the event. And so this is going to be the other event recollection bit, so let's take a look at what it does. So it is 50-50 here, 41-41. So whenever you perform anything, skill or ultimate, you increase your own critical hit rate by 25% for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown, so that's pretty good. With 1 dupe, whenever you do crit or do a black flash, you increase your own damage dealt by 10% for 4 turns, twice in a battle, so I guess you can increase that to 20%. No cooldowns on that. And then 3 dupes, it's going to be a 30% crit rate. Honestly, kind of decent, because you have a pretty good uptime on this one, but just getting a 30% crit rate isn't super crazy. But increasing your own damage dealt by 20% I guess is okay, but like at the same time, that would be cool if it was for like the whole team, but since it's only for the one character, not really that great. There's gonna definitely be a way other recollection bits, so this is really not that good of one, which sucks too because this is like a really good artwork. But yeah, a little bit unfortunate in that department personally. Anyways, in terms of tier list of where I would rate these, the Sukuna one from the gacha banner, this one's definitely for sure double S tier Jujutsu one. This is still really good for sure, no doubt about it. Because if you go to non-standard, I mean like non-standard is 85% Jujutsu damage, right? And the Sukuna one is 85% Jujutsu damage, right? So it's like, it's still really good for sure, right? And you can still put this on like any other Jujutsu character, right? Like it doesn't have to be like a yellow DPS character. The only part that you get from the yellow, being a yellow character, is you get the increase of critical hit damage. But that's it, right? You can still get the 80 to 85% Jujutsu damage buff for the ultimate. You can still get the whole cursed energy buff as well with the crit rate and the ultimate gauge charge, which a lot of characters will still want. So overall, still really good. Like you don't need to put this on a yellow character. Yeah, the critical damage is cool, but the main thing that you want from this is the Jujutsu damage stat, right? Which there's a lot of characters that can still use that, right? Just like non-standard. So this is literally like another non-standard here, right? So I think it's still really good for sure. Easily double S tier. As for the event one though, not really that great to be honest. It is a DPS one for sure in like the combined tier, but this is like a C, D tier recollection bit just because like the stats are so low. Granted, the 4-turn cooldown is kind of cool for the crit rate, but like if the crit rate was like 30% for like 2 turns, okay, that actually would make it a little bit more interesting. But since that's it, and then you're only getting like a max of 20% damage dealt for 4 turns, also kind of sucks. So I mean, granted, maybe you can increase it more because it does say whenever you do crit or perform a black flash, you increase your own damage dealt for 4 turns. That can happen twice in battle, so you can maybe max this out at like 30 to 40%. Actually no, I think it might be a little bit more than that. Yeah, because if you do 2 times per battle, it's for 4 turns. Say maybe you crit 3 turns, right? And you crit, and then you have 2 times you crit within those 3 turns. That'd be 6, so 60% damage though. Okay, I guess that makes it a little bit better. Yeah, so if you were to have a character that basically has multiple hits and they were to crit at least 2 times get the max from this, and you were to do that for 3 turns straight, then on the 4th turn, you would have 60, but then if you were to crit again, right, on that turn, that would jump up to 70, and then on the last hit, technically, no, it wouldn't be 80. Actually, no, yeah, because if you have multiple hits, if you were to take that into account with multiple hits, then theoretically you could hit a max cap of 80% damage though for like 1 turn basically, but then it would reset back down, right, and like you progressively get lower, and then so there'd be like a turn or two where it'd be kind of low, but then you could kind of pick it up back up again. So I guess it's not that bad. I guess in that aspect, if you were to put on a character that for sure can like crit like basically every single turn, like like some Yujis and like some Nanamis, then yeah, you could probably make this work. That would jump it up, now that I'm thinking about it. That would probably jump it up to at least maybe not an A tier. I'd say potential to be like the ceiling is like A tier, maybe even like, no, I think S tier would be going a little too crazy. I think A tier, and then, but I would probably maybe rate like a B tier. Yeah, because as long as you can get this to a character that can crit, it does have a pretty good ceiling. But if you give this to like some random bum unit that doesn't really crit, then not really going to be that valuable for you, right? You're not really going to be able to maximize this. So definitely want to give this to only characters that can crit or do black flashes for sure every single turn, so you can hit that max potential cap, right? Of like 80% for like that 1 turn. Otherwise it's going to probably be between like like 60% damage almost every other turn. I want you start like, you know, building it up and like kind of like rolling the ball for the damage there. So it does have potential for sure, but in the initial value is going to be kind of like not that great. So it's a decent option, but not super amazing. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is all the content we should be getting for this week with Sukuna and all that. He should be coming out later tonight, so that'll be really cool. I don't know when my video for Todo and Yuji will be coming up, but hopefully it'll be coming out within this week probably. See how we'll see how that goes. And then looks like we're supposed to also get a top grossing song at some point maybe, but to be fair, that's top grossing, so that's kind of like its own separate thing, right, especially for global, right? Anyways, for upcoming content, real quickly before we do end the video here, I didn't realize this video was going on for so long, especially for one fucking character. Mythos should be coming out next week with the Mahagora event, and then we should have this cool rerun banner with all 3 of these characters, which only 2 of them are really good. Sukuna's a bit outdated, but like probably a Jabate banner, to be honest, or not Jabate, a bait banner. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna say all that. This video is going on for so damn long, but if you guys also work here for the whole video, I do really appreciate it, and I will see all of you guys later. Good luck with your assignments. Peace and take care, everybody.